I lay there, staring at the ceiling, my body still buzzing, but the ache inside me hadn't faded. Caleb lay beside me, his breath slowing, his body relaxed with satisfaction. He thought he had given me what I needed. He was wrong. I turned to him, trailing my fingers down his chest, feeling the tension lingering beneath his skin. His smirk was lazy, amused. I leaned in, my lips brushing his ear. "I think you should text your friends," I whispered. His body tensed for a moment. Then amusement flickered in his gaze. With a slow chuckle, he reached for his phone, tapped a few times, and sent the message. Now, all I had to do was wait. Before we dive in, a quick note. Your support means everything. Liking, subscribing, and sticking around helps share this story with more people. Now, let's get to it. The ice in my glass had melted, but I barely noticed. The low hum of conversation in Neon Pulse, a sleek bar on the Las Vegas Strip, drifted around me, distant and unimportant. My body was here, but my mind was tangled in last night. I hadn't meant to find it. I'd been searching for something to push me over the edge, something raw, something real, but the usual predictable scenes left me restless, my fingers hovering over the screen, unsatisfied. I was about to give up when I saw a video of a woman surrounded by 5 men. Their hands gripping, mouths claiming, bodies pressing against her from every direction. There was no hesitation, no restraint, just pure, uncontrollable intensity. A sharp pulse of heat shot through me. I clicked before I could think. The moment the video started, I was captivated. She trembled beneath them, gasping, breaking apart as they moved with relentless purpose. They overwhelmed her senses with an intensity that left her shaking, barely able to breathe. I had never seen anything like it. A wave of pleasure surged through me so fiercely my body shook. My breath caught. My mind went blank as sensations crashed over me, one after another, leaving me spent. Yet, it wasn't enough. Hours later, sitting at the bar, my thighs pressed together, the ache still hummed beneath my skin. The video had ended, but the longing hadn't. I wanted to feel what she felt. I exhaled, my fingers tightening around my glass. Then I saw them. They hadn't noticed me yet, but I saw them 4 men sitting at a table, relaxed and at ease, drinks in hand, conversation flowing effortlessly. One leaned back, tattoos creeping past his sleeves. Another had a smirk that suggested he was always in control, his dark eyes scanning the room with quiet amusement. I didn't mean to eavesdrop, but their words caught my attention. Most women say they want something wild, one mused, but when it's real, they hesitate. Another nodded. Most don't even know what they really want. That's why they need to be shown. A chuckle. A clink of glasses. Heat curled deep in my stomach. My fingers tightened around my drink. They weren't talking about me, but it felt like they were. I lifted my glass, took a slow sip, and let my movement draw their attention. The tattooed one Caleb noticed first. His gaze flicked to me, then held, the corner of his mouth tilting into something dangerous. I didn't look away. He stood, stretching slightly as he picked up his drink, his movement casual but deliberate. He crossed the short distance and settled against the bar beside me, up close. He was striking strong jaw, dark eyes full of amusement, confidence radiating from every inch of him. He took a sip of his drink, then turned to me, as if I were something intriguing but expected. "You've been listening," he said smoothly. I ran a finger along the rim of my glass, tilting my head slightly. "Hard not to," I replied. He smirked, taking another sip. "And did you agree with what you heard?" he asked. I met his gaze, steady and unwavering. "Maybe," I said. His eyes darkened slightly, amusement still there, but now layered with a challenge. He set his glass down, turning fully toward me, his fingers drumming lightly against the bar. "I have a suite upstairs at the Cosmopolitan," I said simply. Caleb exhaled a quiet laugh, shaking his head as if impressed. "You don't waste time," he said. "Neither do you," I replied. That was all he needed. He finished his drink, set the glass down with finality, and nodded toward the door. "Lead the way, Sophie," he said. I didn't hesitate. The elevator ride was charged with unspoken tension. I could feel the heat of Caleb's body beside me, his presence heavy, his movements relaxed but deliberate. Neither of us spoke. There was no need. By the time we reached my suite, my hands were steady, but my pulse was racing. I pushed the door open, stepping inside. But before I could turn, Caleb was there, his hand pressing against the door to close it, caging me between his body and the wood. His breath warmed the back of my neck. When I turned, his mouth was on mine, the kiss deep and demanding, his lips firm as he pulled me closer, claiming the moment without hesitation. My fingers gripped his shirt, pulling him toward me as my back met the wall. I had started this, and now I was letting it happen. His hand skimmed over my waist, strong and unhurried, mapping my body with confidence. His touch ignited something restless, something raw beneath my skin. He lifted me effortlessly, and I let him, my legs wrapping around his waist as he carried me toward the bed. When my back hit the mattress, I exhaled sharply, my breath catching as he settled above me, his weight pressing me into the sheets. Caleb was strong, his fingers tracing my thigh, pushing fabric aside, his mouth leaving a heated trail down my neck and across my collarbone. Every move was precise, intentional. He knew how to take control, how to make my body respond. And I let him. It was fast, hungry, his hands gripping, his body moving with practiced ease. The tension built quickly, relentlessly, pushing me higher, winding me tighter. When I finally gave in, the pleasure hit hard, sharp, tearing through me like a sudden storm. My breath broke. My fingers dug into his shoulders. My back arched as my body trembled beneath him. It was good, really good. But as the high faded and I caught my breath, I knew the ache was still there. Lying beside Caleb, feeling the heat of his skin against mine, my heartbeat slowing. I stared at the ceiling. My body was spent, but the hunger lingered. Caleb brushed a hand down my thigh, lazy and satisfied. He turned his head toward me, smirking slightly. "Did that satisfy your curiosity?" "Sophie," he asked. I met his gaze, lips parted, my pulse still unsteady. We both knew the answer. Not even close. I said. The room was warm, the scent of sweat and skin thick in the air. Caleb lay beside me, his breath steady, his body relaxed. But I wasn't satisfied. The hunger that hadn't faded still burned inside me. I turned to him, trailing my fingers down his chest, watching his muscles tense beneath my touch. His lips curled into a smirk, his eyes half-lidded. Already he teased. I leaned in, my lips brushing near his ear. "I think you should text your friends," I whispered. His smirk faltered for a moment, then amusement flickered in his gaze, followed by realization and interest. "You're serious," he murmured. I met his stare, unwavering. "Do I look like I'm joking?" I asked. Caleb let out a quiet chuckle, shaking his head as he reached for his phone. A few taps. A message sent. He set the phone down, turning back to me, his smirk sharper now. He reached out, tracing a slow line up my arm, his voice low. "You have no idea what you just asked for," he said. I stretched beside him, exhaling slowly, anticipation curling deep in my stomach. Now, all I had to do was wait. The knock at the door sent a sharp pulse through me, electric and undeniable. I moved before I could think, my skin still warm, my breath still uneven from Caleb. But it hadn't been enough, not yet. I opened the door, and 3 men stepped inside, moving through my suite with a confidence that thickened the air instantly. They weren't hesitant or uncertain. They knew why they were here, and so did I. Caleb stood to the side, watching with a smirk, his arms crossed over his chest, as if he'd been waiting for this moment all along. Before the door fully closed, hands were on me. The one with the steady grip stood behind me, pulling me back against his body, his heat pressing into my spine, locking me in place. His hands weren't gentle. They knew how to hold, how to claim. His breath grazed my neck, slow and teasing, his fingers slipping against my stomach, testing my response. I barely had time to register him before the one with the sharp gaze was in front of me, drinking me in with a flicker of amusement. His fingers tilted my chin up, and his mouth found mine. His kiss deep, slow, and purposeful, sending heat curling through my stomach. The one with the teasing smile skimmed a hand down my arm, trailing over my wrist, then lower. Pressing into the sensitive skin of my thigh, a touch meant to ignite, to test how quickly I would respond. I was surrounded, guided by their movements. The sharp-gazed one controlled my breath, stealing my gasps with his lips. The steady-gripped one kept me grounded, anchoring me against his body. The teasing one tested my reactions, his fingers learning every twitch, every quiver, every place that made my body tense with need. They moved together effortlessly, leaving no space for thought, only feeling. Then they shifted. The steady-gripped man turned me, my back now pressed against the sharp-gazed one's chest. I barely had time to adjust before he tilted my head back, claiming my lips again. I melted into it. I didn't have control, and I didn't want it. The teasing one's grip slid along my thigh, lifting one leg, then the other. positioning me exactly where they wanted. The steady gripped one settled between my legs, his hands gripping my hips, guiding my movements with control. I gasped, my head falling back, my body arching instinctively. A low chuckle sounded near my ear. "There you go," he murmured. The pressure built fast, deep, relentless. Hands shifted, adjusting my body, keeping me where they wanted. My wrists were pinned for a moment, then released. My hips tilted, angles changed, new sensations replacing the last before I could catch my breath. Every touch, every movement, every shift in control sent fire racing through me. I let go, surrendered, and shattered. The pleasure wasn't soft or gentle. It was overwhelming, all-consuming. A raw, breathless gasp escaped me, trembling and broken, a sound I barely recognized. But they didn't stop, and I didn't want them to. My body arched, seized, gave in completely, my mind blanking as waves of sensation ripped through me again and again. I didn't know how long it lasted, seconds, minutes, a lifetime. By the time I collapsed against them, I was trembling, spent, completely overwhelmed. Caleb's voice cut through the haze, his tone laced with amusement. "Is that what you were looking for?" "Sophie?" he asked. I found my breath, but not my strength. I stretched, my skin still tingling, my pulse erratic, a slow, exhausted smile forming on my lips. "Yeah," I whispered. That was it. For the first time. The ache was gone. I was satisfied. Whole. The suite at the Cosmopolitan was quiet now, the air still heavy with the scent of skin and sweat. The neon glow of the Las Vegas Strip spilled through the floor-to-ceiling windows, casting a kaleidoscope of colours across the room: pinks, blues, and golds from the Bellagio fountains and Caesar's Palace signs below. My body felt weightless, my breath slow, as I stretched on the bed, my fingers brushing over my skin, still sensitive, still alive with the memory of their touch. Caleb lay beside me, his smirk softer now, his voice low. "What now?" he asked. I let out a slow breath, a satisfied smile tugging at my lips. "I guess we'll see," I said. For the first time. I wasn't searching. I stood, wrapping a silk robe around me, and stepped onto the balcony. The desert air was warm, carrying the faint hum of slot machines and laughter from the Strip below. The three men had left quietly, their departure as seamless as their arrival, leaving only Caleb and me in the aftermath. I leaned against the railing, watching the fountains dance in synchronized bursts, their mist catching the neon light. Caleb joined me, his shoulder brushing mine, but we didn't speak. The silence was enough, a shared understanding of what had just happened. As I gazed at the Strip, its chaos and excess mirroring the intensity of the night, I felt a shift inside me. Las Vegas had always been a place of escape, a city where rules blurred and possibilities felt endless. But this trip had been different. It wasn't just about the thrill, it was about confronting a part of myself I'd kept buried. Back in Los Angeles, I was Sophie the graphic designer, always meeting deadlines, always playing it safe. Here, I was Sophie the risk-taker, unafraid to chase what I wanted, no matter how bold. The next morning, I woke to the soft glow of sunlight filtering through the curtains. Caleb was gone. leaving only a note on the nightstand. Until next time. I smiled, tucking the note into my bag. I didn't need to see him again. His role in my story was complete. I ordered room service, savouring a cappuccino and fresh berries as I watched the strip come to life below. The city never slept, its energy infectious, urging me to keep exploring. I spent the day wandering the strip, the sun blazing overhead, the sidewalks packed with tourists snapping photos of the Venetian's canals and the Eiffel Tower replica at Paris, Las Vegas. I stopped at a street-side cafe, the scent of espresso mingling with the desert air, and watched a group of friends laugh over mimosas. Their joy was contagious, a reminder of the freedom I'd felt last night. I pulled out my phone and started journaling, something I hadn't done in years, capturing the neon-lit chaos of the strip, the pulse of Neon Pulse, the way Caleb's smirk had sparked something in me. That evening, I returned to Neon Pulse, drawn back to its sleek bar and thumping bass. The bartender, a woman with a quick smile and a nose ring, slid a mojito my way. Back for more, she teased, her eyes twinkling. I laughed, shaking my head. Just soaking it in, I said. The crowd was a mix of locals and tourists, their energy electric, dancing to a remix of pop and EDM. I watched a couple sway near the DJ booth, their hands intertwined, and felt a pang of gratitude for this city, this moment. Over the next few days, I leaned into Las Vegas's rhythm. I tried my luck at blackjack in the Bellagio, laughing as I lost a few chips but won a round against a cocky dealer. I took a gondola ride at the Venetian, the artificial canals oddly charming under the painted sky. I danced at a rooftop club, the city sprawling below me, its lights a glittering promise of more to come. Each experience felt like an extension of that night, a celebration of saying yes to life's possibilities. But the memory of the suite stayed with me, vivid and unshakable. I found myself noticing details I'd overlooked before, the way the neon signs flickered, the laughter of strangers, the warmth of the desert breeze. I kept journaling, filling pages with thoughts about the night, the way the three men had moved with such certainty, the way Caleb's challenge had pushed me to confront my desires. I wrote about myself, too, how I'd spent years playing it safe, how Las Vegas had cracked that shell open. One afternoon, as I lounged by the Cosmopolitan's pool, the water shimmering under the sun, I spotted a man who looked vaguely familiar, one of the three from that night. Maybe the one with the teasing smile. He was with a group, laughing, his arm around a woman in a bright yellow sundress. Our eyes met briefly, and he raised his glass in a subtle nod, a silent acknowledgement. I smiled back, then looked away, content to let the moment pass. That night wasn't about them, it was about me. Back in Los Angeles, the memory of Las Vegas followed me. My apartment, with its cozy clutter of art supplies and coffee mugs, felt both familiar and new. I went back to work, sketching logos and meeting clients. But something had changed. I carried the energy of the strip with me, the boldness, the willingness to take risks. I started saying yes to things I'd have declined before: a last-minute road trip to Joshua Tree, a salsa dancing class, a gallery opening in Silver Lake. Each choice was a nod to that night, a way of keeping the spark alive. I began a blog, writing about my Las Vegas adventure, not the explicit details, but the essence of it, the way a single night could shift your perspective, the way a city could teach you to live more fully. I wrote about the strip's neon chaos, the rhythm of the desert, the fleeting connections that leave lasting marks. The blog gained a small following, people drawn to the idea of chasing moments that make you feel alive. Each comment, each shared story, felt like a connection to others who understood. One evening, as I sipped wine on my balcony overlooking the LA skyline, I found myself thinking of Caleb. I wondered where he was, maybe back in Vegas, charming someone new with that smirk. I didn't need to see him again, but I was grateful for him, for the way he'd helped me unlock something inside myself. I pulled out my journal, scribbling thoughts about the night, the way the suite's neon glow had mirrored my own awakening. Months later, I returned to Las Vegas for a work conference. The strip was as vibrant as ever, its energy pulling me in. I stopped by Neon Pulse, the bar unchanged, its lights casting the same seductive glow. The bartender recognized me, sliding a mojito across the counter. "You look different," she said, grinning. "Happier." I laughed, raising my glass. "Las Vegas does that," I said. The conference was a blur of panels and networking, but I carved out time to explore. I hiked in Red Rock Canyon, the desert's red cliffs, a stark contrast to the strip's glitz. I caught a Cirque du Soleil show, its acrobatics a reminder of the night's intensity. I even tried a slot machine at Caesar's Palace, laughing as I won a small jackpot. Each moment felt like a continuation of that night, a way of honoring the woman I'd become. Back in LA, I kept pushing myself. I took a solo trip to San Diego, wandering the Gaslamp Quarter, letting the ocean breeze clear my mind. I joined a photography club, capturing the city's hidden corners, from Griffith Park to Venice Beach. I planned a trip to New Orleans, eager to chase more experiences that would make my heart race. That night in Las Vegas had been a spark, but it was up to me to keep the fire burning. It wasn't just about Caleb or the three men. It was about me, about embracing the parts of myself I'd kept hidden. I was no longer just Sophie the graphic designer. I was Sophie the adventurer, the dreamer, the woman who said yes to life. I still get butterflies thinking about that night. It wasn't just the thrill, it was the person I became because of it. If you've had a moment that changed you, share it. Until next time, keep chasing the moments that make your heart race.